Oh, what a beautiful day. I really miss the succubus. I hope he's doing all right. I haven't seen him in a while. So, I just...
Please help me! I shared my opinion on the Amazing Digital Circus, please! They won't let me go, please!
You fool! You shared your opinion? Are they here on the Amazing Digital Circus? Don't you know what will happen to you? They'll break into your home, and as you're sitting there, hands in the air, princess, please, I'll get you a Jack's body pillow, princess, please don't hurt me. And then 100 of them all rush you at the same time, tearing you limb from limb, strangling you, castrating you, and leaving you a bloody mess on the floor because you had to be expunged from their digital circus world. At least, that's what I think is going to happen if I talk ill will about the Amazing Digital Circus, but I have to get my thoughts out. Now, I want to preface, I don't hate this show, but I also don't love this show. I think it is the most middle-of-the-road show that I have ever seen. It is also the most overrated show I've ever seen. People like to treat it like it was handcrafted by the gods, like it's the sweetest fruit, the ultimate nectar. Who sculpts statues? I don't know, Michelangelo. He's sitting there and he's just, oh yes, Pomni, one of the most well-written characters ever. Oh yes, let me sculpt my statue. And it's just not like that for me. And I don't get it. So I'm going to be going over my thoughts on the finale, my thoughts on the characters and the story overall, and trying to explain to you why I think this show is completely and utterly overrated. I would like to also say, if you do love this show, it's not to attack you, but if you do love it, please comment down below why you love it so much, because I would truly love to understand where that comes from. If you like content just like this, like and subscribe. Let's get into the Amazing Digital Circus. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers! Alright, you've been warned. So, I gotta be honest, I was kind of avoiding the finale for a lot of reasons. One, I heard that it wasn't very good, so I didn't really want to waste my time with it. And two, the fandom acting so unbelievably crazy at the creator is really off-putting. I don't know why you have such this innate desire to bully the person that made the show that you quote-unquote love. It's just so weird, and I think I have a theory about why that is, why people like to attack the creator when the show isn't going the way that they wanted it to, when there isn't as much hype, when the creator doesn't seem like they have enough passion. I think it's because of the distance between the episodes. When you have one episode from 4 years ago, and it takes a year for the next episode to come out, people like to create their own headcanon. There are channels on YouTube that have over 500 videos on the Amazing Digital Circus, a show with 9 episodes. So many theories, so many ways for the characters to go, and so much headcanon. So much of, this story needs to go like this character needs to go like that, I connect to this character because of this reason, and he's gonna turn out like this, and this, and this, that it makes a very toxic relationship with the actual creator of the show. If it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, then you're gonna turn on the creator because you're like, no, it was supposed to go my way! Jax is supposed to be my sexy lover! You know? It's supposed to be like that, but in reality, it never was. It was just a distance between the episodes, and Gooseworks was probably planning it out for a very long time, and because it took so long, your headcanon didn't come true, so you decide to attack the creator, and that creates one of the most negative fandoms that I've ever seen in my entire life. Didn't like that at all, but I decided, I'll put that aside, I'll give this thing a little bit of a watch. And I was disappointed. I mean, I was entertained nonetheless, but again, it just falls into that category of being a 5 out of 10 experience. There's so many pacing issues with this show that I can't get over it. The beginning of it, where they're all just sad, they don't know what to do without Caine, they didn't mean to delete them, everything is seeming hopeless, is a good starting point for that finale. I wanted to see their reactions to everything, and then Kinger immediately shows them what a lot of people thought initially, that they are neural brain scans. They are not real. They are brain scans of who they actually were outside of it, and they're their own person, and there's no way to get out of this. They are stuck in the circus, and there's never a single time where it feels like they have to grasp that situation. For an entire show that is this theme of becoming stagnant in your situation, being okay with what you have to go through, it doesn't feel like they ever grasp that. Yes, they're sad about it, but there's not one conversation where it's like, oh, I'm gonna be stuck in here forever. I'm gonna be stuck in here forever. I'm gonna have to stay here forever, where they're panicking and freaking out. They're all dealing with it in their own ways, but I would have loved to explore that a lot more instead of turning the entire finale episode into a Jax therapy session, which was good. I don't need to like hate on it that much. I liked everything that was happening with Jax. Jax is the most well-developed character in the show because they didn't develop anyone else in a very meaningful way, but still, having like half an hour of the finale be all about Jax's character just did not do a whole lot for me in terms of making me love the show even more. And it doesn't help that almost every single character was acting so out of character when they know what can happen. Pomni seeing Jax walk away when he's walking away all defeated and all sad and not wanting to talk to him, not wanting to move, to try to do something, doesn't seem like Pomni. In episode 6 of the Amazing Digital Circus, they have this entire conversation, this big blowout, which is one of my favorite episodes in the series because of how real it feels in a sense, with them arguing, Jax kind of like going in and out of his mode of manipulation and just not wanting to show his true feelings. I love that episode. But Pomni in episode 7 and episode 8 still seemed to care about Jax even though they were constantly at odds. Here, her seeing him walk away and not wanting to do anything is just complacency, and I thought it was really fucking stupid. And then in the next scene, Jax is abstracted. He's gone. That's it. And it just happens. And I feel like the entire reason that they decided to do that was for shock value in a sense, just like, oh, this could happen to anybody. I just can't believe it happened. But it really took away a lot of the emotional weight out of the finale. It kind of, once again, just felt like things were happening over and over and over again, and I wasn't really that into that reveal. I feel like, I mean, this is just me wanting my own desires for, like, my emotions during the finale, but I feel like if we got to watch Jax abstract, even if the other characters didn't get to react, that would have been way more emotional, and I would have loved to see that, but we didn't get that. Jax is just abstracted, everybody's a little bit sad, and then Pomni decides to do this magical hug thing. I don't remember that from any of the episodes. Did she know that that would work if she touched him and was just able to connect to his body? I don't know the logic behind that, and it doesn't really feel like they were as afraid of the abstractions like they were in the initial episodes. But she hugs Jax and then is transported into him in a way and has to go through all of this, and we eventually get to learn Jax's full story with Ribbit and Kaufmo and everything that happened there, and it's actually pretty tragic, and it actually gives a lot of insight into the way that Jax behaves. He was manipulating Ribbit, he was manipulating Kaufmo, he manipulates Ragatha, he manipulates Pomni, all so that he doesn't have to show who he truly is. At least that was kind of the vibe that I was getting from it. Once again, I'm not as invested in these characters as probably all of you are, so I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna get castrated for not fully understanding, not having that beautiful intellect, but he was manipulating and everything ended up being his fault, which is why he continuously shuts people out. I actually really enjoyed all of these segments, but it would have been so much better if this show was paced well and I cared more about Jax's character. Again, I am not a part of the Amazing Digital Circus fandom. I didn't spend every single waking moment thinking about Jax, thinking about what's going to happen with his story, thinking about, oh, this and this and this. So I don't connect with the character that much. So when this happened, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's it for Jax then. All right. That sucks, I guess. Darn diddly dang, Jax. I'm terribly sorry. And I know some people won't like my reaction to that, because literally, when I was initially making a video on this way back when I was talking about episode 5 or whatever, where they're doing all this stuff with the characters, I mentioned that, you know, I like that they're having all these deep conversations, but I'm really not connected with the characters thus far. One person got so unbelievably mad at me saying that I'm so wrong for not understanding the characters. I'm so wrong for not caring about them, but this show does a not very good job at making me care for all the characters. Once again, this is only episode 9, and it feels like it's mainly about Jax, and the other characters are just reacting to what's going on in Jax's life. I didn't start liking Jax until episode 6, and then episode 7 and episode 8, he's either a dick or he's panicking constantly, and then he abstracts. And it's just so weirdly paced. And then we get to the I don't get why they decided to go this direction specifically, but Caine is the most rushed character I have seen in so long. His entire arc feels like it should have spanned over the course of 4 or 5 episodes, but it really doesn't. Episode 8 has one of the coolest moments in the show where Caine is all like, I'm a god, and starts controlling them, like being fucking evil, and it's really fucking cool. But even that was so unbelievably rushed and extremely hard to deal with because it just came out of nowhere. And then this ending where Caine is deleted, but he's not actually deleted. He's just in this weird limbo space, and he's able to come back because of fucking blocks and colors. I don't know. I'm a casual viewer. I'm not gonna dig down deep into that. For a casual viewer, somebody who's only watched the show once and doesn't spend all day rewatching it, fucking Caine came back, wanted to get to the door, used a bunch of shiny blocks, and he was there. Am I missing something? I'm sure somebody could explain that in a technical prowess way, but for me watching that, I was like, holy cop-out. And then Caine is having this fucking insane conversation with himself in his head, and he just is like, oh man, I don't want to be evil anymore. It just pulls out the blue part of his AI and throws it away. And then all of a sudden, he has feelings and emotions, and he's able to understand, and he wants to go on this redemption of apologizing. Bro, what do we... What? Really? That's our big resolution for Caine? That's absolutely insane. I can't believe that that is the direction that it goes with his character. Because Caine is one of the coolest aspects of the show. An AI trying to understand humans, not understanding why they don't love everything he's doing for him, viewing himself as a god, viewing himself as a omnipotent being, and having to grapple with that after he is deleted. They could have went so much more into that in this finale, but they spent so much time with Jax that Caine is left with just 10 minutes, and I don't know why he makes the decisions that he does. Oh man, I was deleted. Oh man, it was my fault. Let me just take out the evil part of me and chuck it away into space. What the fuck? What? Okay. I fucking impeccable writing, I guess. What else am I to say? I don't know. Maybe it's just the greatest thing I've ever seen. So then they go back, and once again, it's just kind of weird. Caine apologizes, they accept his apology, and Caine shows them what they are actually like in the real world, because they're off actually doing their own things. They're just neural scans, they're not actually real, they're just in this computer. And so everybody's happy about who they used to be. Pomni just gives that corny ass line like, I'm not Abigail in here, I'm just Pomni. And then they all smile, they all get used to having a life inside of the computer, and it ends with Pomni waving away, and that is the end of the Amazing Digital Circus. Now, obviously, I'm not digging as deep into the show as other people might be, but from a casual viewer standpoint, it's just rushed in so many places, genuinely. I know it's kind of like wishy-washy, but it would have been a lot cooler if the finale was more about trying to figure out how to bring the abstract people back. I'm surprised they never even had one conversation about that. They never had a conversation about saving the abstracted people. They never had a conversation about, oh man, we're stuck in here forever. It's just, oh yeah, let's immediately be complacent and be okay with this. Let's cry a little here, but oh man, we're gonna be all right. Let's have Caine's redemption arc be extremely rushed. For me, it's just a little bit all over the place when it comes to the character arcs and details. Maybe I'm personally missing the details, but I just feel like it's so unbelievably rushed that it affects my overall enjoyment of the show. And if you think it's a 10 out of 10, that's perfectly fine. Once again, I would love to hear why down in the comments below. I would love for you to share your love for this show with me so that maybe I could see something that I didn't see before. And I'm not just saying all these negatives to try to pinpoint that the show is fucking awful, because it's not. It's a 5 out of 10 for me, and a 5 out of 10 isn't bad. It's good, it's decent. Sometimes it's a 6 out of 10. There are certain moments in the series where it could even go up to a 10 out of 10. I love the mansion episode. I love the restaurant episode. I love the baseball episode. I really like the gun episode. I think there's great episodes within the show, but it just feels so rushed in terms of the characters and the story that it just falls a little bit short. And I can see a bunch of other shows that are 10 times, 20 times, 30 times better than the show that I can't help but to say this was a average experience overall. And there are really good things about it. Jax's character was thoroughly explored in a really interesting way. Even though I was complaining about it the majority of the time, it's just because of the way the show is paced that I don't really get fully involved with Jax as a character, and I don't really get to understand how characters react to Jax, because there's not a lot of time spent on it. Jax, in the finale, he is explored in such an interesting way as we get to see in his mind, in his abstracted mind, what he was really like with Ribbit and Kaufmo, his like manipulation, all of that. It was was done extremely well in a very unique way that I honestly haven't seen before, and I really liked it. But then there wasn't time for anything else. And it ultimately makes me look at that entire sequence a little bit more negatively, because I would have loved for more time to be spent with Caine, for more time to be spent with the other characters. And it just makes me feel like, oh, whoop-de-doo. Yes, that's the end, because Jax is just fucking basically dead after that. It's just a lot of interesting choices when it came to the finale, but there were a lot of things that I liked about the Amazing Digital Circus. It's just, I've seen better shows, and I don't understand why people act like it's the most amazing thing ever. Once again, if you do think that it's the most amazing thing ever, tell me down in the comments. Tell me why. I would love to know, but I just don't see it. And I feel like a lot of content creators are afraid to say anything even remotely negative about this show, which is kind of a little bit weird. I feel like without criticism, things wouldn't get better. So here I am to criticize. Overall, the Amazing Digital Circus is a 5 out of 10, sometimes a 6 out of 10, but it does have some really good moments, and it is a very good concept. I honestly would have loved if the show went on for longer, and we had more time with these characters, more time with the story, and more time for all of the arcs within that, and even more stuff being answered, like why were they put into this in the very first place? Why are there nerdle scans of these people? What was the point of that? I don't know. And I don't think we ever will know, because I don't think Gooseworks is ever going to come back to this after everybody decided to bully her just for wanting to make a show. It's pretty fucked up, but oh well. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, I don't really know if anything I said was very coherent. I am doing all of this without a script, just at the top of the dome, so let's hope it makes sense, and let's hope I wake up not castrated tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.